Chapter 11, Eli Frieden. It takes a few days for things to get back to normal around our house. Eventually, though, life resumes on its regular, boring rhythm. Boring is good. My father likes order and sameness, which makes it hard for him to peek into my room and check on me at all hours of the night. Soon, I'm the one checking on him. He sleeps like a baby and snores like a buzzsaw. That's when I give the go-ahead to put our plan into action. Every time I think about what I'm doing, I feel like my head's going to explode. That's when I remind myself of what my dad and Mr. Bruder did to me. It's always good for a surge of courage. Serenity isn't the liveliest place in the middle of the day. At night, you can safely roll a giant boulder up McNally Avenue without putting anybody in danger. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's dark in a silent tomb. I ease myself out through the back door, convinced that I'm going to be the only one crazy enough to report for this expedition. The kids of Serenity follow the rules 100%. The town charter has no provision for sneaking around. The meeting place is under the big maple tree at the corner of Amity and Fellowship. I'm equal parts amazed and relieved to find Tori there waiting for me. She seems terrified. I thought for sure it would just be me, she says, a slight tremor in her voice. Me too. Where's Malik? I'm wondering if something went wrong, a medical issue somewhere in town that would have Dr. Bruder awake and about. We have no backup plan. Do we go home or continue as a twosome? The thought of weaseling out of this is more attractive than I'd like to admit. But no such luck. I make out a hulking dark figure approaching along Amity. Sorry I'm late, Malik greets us. He may be big and tough, but he looks twice as scared as we were. The three of us start down the Fellowship Hill toward the chimneys of the plastic works. It's a moonless night, so dark when you step away from somebody, the face disappears almost immediately. We might as well be in a deep space. The factory is absolutely still, a shadow that could just as easily be a small mountain as a building. There are only a handful of lights, none of them much brighter than a bug zapper. Considering this is supposed to be a major manufacturing corporation, it sure looks like nobody's home. We don't see the perimeter fence until we're almost upon it. It's 8 feet high and it seems even higher in the darkness. We begin to circle the property looking for a way in. At last, we arrive at the electronic gate. 3 traffic cones trucks are parked on the roadway just inside. There could be others, Tori suggests, out of town making deliveries. You guys want to see Hector's blood? Malik offers. We'll take your word for it, I decide. As far as I know, no kid has ever been inside the plastic works. The plant is off limits except for employees, and there are no open houses and no take your children to work days. That's what makes the next step so difficult. Once past the gate, there's no pleading innocence or playing dumb. Everybody knows it's forbidden territory. Worse, the plant is purple people eater country. We may make fun of their big teeth and photosynthesis, but nobody wants to tangle with them. The gate is a little shorter than the fence, perhaps 7 feet. Climbing over it feels like a passing point of no return. When we jump to the ground, the impact of our shoes on the gravel resounds like fireworks, and we scramble to the dirt path as quickly as we can. Another crunch, a footstep. Is somebody there? A hand squeezes my wrist. It's Tori, her face ghostly white. I count silently, 10 seconds, then 20. False alarm, I whisper. We scamper toward the building itself, taking a quick inventory of all the doors and windows. Our plan is simple. Find a window, look inside. Are they making traffic cones? What else are they doing? If we can't see anything in the first window, we move on to the next, and so on. But the closer we get, the more it becomes apparent that the windows are a lot farther up than they appear from the road. There's no way we could boost one of us high enough to get a look in there. Not even standing on each other's shoulders. And anyway, we're not circus performers. There's a loading bay, but the heavy folding door is padlocked shut. What about this? Suggests Malik. He reaches for the handle of the only other way in on this side of the building, a metal door marked keep out. Freeze! Tori rasps. I doubt it's open, I put in. Tori points to the top corner of the doorframe. 2 tiny strands of color run from the brick into the metal. It's wired for an alarm. There might even be a sensor on the knob itself. We stare at her. Where did that come from? I mean, I'm grateful that she saved us from potential mistake, but how did she see it? People don't even lock their doors in Serenity. What gave Tori the eagle eye to spot an 1.5 inches of alarm wire? We can't touch anything, I decide. Great, grumbles Malik. So we risk a heap of trouble to come here and do what? Nothing? None of us had an answer for that. We're standing there like idiots, where the noise reaches us, a soft electronic motor. The thought of purple people eaters jolts us into action. There's only one place to go, a low-standing shrubbery against the wall of the factory. We practically trample each other, scrambling into shelter just as the golf cart makes the turn around the corner of the factory and comes into view. Flashlight beams crisscross the ground in a rhythmic pattern. My eyes follow the cones of light to their source on the cart, the indigo uniforms of the surgery. Nobody breathes. Trembling, we crouch amid the scratchy branches of the beams as the beams sweep over us. The tension is like a fog surrounding us. I recognize one of the purple's faces, screaming Mimi, and the other I squint to see past the brightness of the bulb, Alexander the Grape. What difference does it make which ones they are? If they can't catch us, it'll end the world. In my mind, we're impossible to overlook. 3 clumsy bodies trying to disappear behind a few brambles. And then the flashlights move on past. The patrol continues to parallel the wall and disappears around the far end of the complex. It's only when the sounds of the cart's motor has completely faded that we muster the courage to emerge from the bush. 1 figure at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? Frantic, I identify Tori and Malik. Someone else is here too. I can't see him in the silhouette. We were so worried about the purples in the cart that we didn't notice the one hiding 3 feet away from us. Tori and I stand frozen, but Malik doesn't freeze so easily. Like a panther, he lunges at the stranger, hauling him up by the scruff of the neck. Ow, Malik, that hurts! Hector. Malik is furious. Where do you get off following us here? Hector stands up to him. I don't follow them. I followed you. Why are you leaving me out? You think this is some kind of game, Malik demands? Hector spreads his arms wide. Whatever it is, I can help you guys. No, Malik rasps. You'll treat us like the club you want to join, and then you'll get scared. I won't, I swear, I'm part of this. Malik is beside himself. If you don't know what it is, how do you know you're part of it? I have a thought. Randy's note said some of us are special. It could be Hector as much of any of us. Yeah, I'm special, Hector says, pleased. Special how? We'll explain later, Tori assures him. Let's go out of here. From my jacket pocket, I pulled out my iPad and snapped pictures of the loading bay, the keep-out door, and the high windows. Maybe we'll notice something that we'd missed, I explain. I'm about to slide the tablet back into my jacket when I see something that makes me frown. Along the bottom of my screen, right beside the battery indicator, I spot the icon for Wi-Fi. Why would I have Wi-Fi? I'm too far from my home where our router is, and there are no other houses here, so I can't be piggybacking on someone else's network. The Wi-Fi has to be coming from the factory. I open the browser and the pop-up appears asking for a security code. I'm a little surprised since we don't use passwords a lot in Serenity. We know what they are. Our parents order things from online stores from time to time, but I've never seen the internet itself protected by a PIN. The others gather around, offering suggestions. Try Serenity, Malik supplies. Around here, every toilet is stuffed up with that name. I type in access denied. What about plastic? Hector puts in, or plastic works. Access denied. Maybe honesty, Tori offers. Harmony, contentment. We test them all, every word or phrase we've ever heard associated with our town. Serenity Cup, PAX, traffic cones, factory, and the last names of every town official. No luck. Then I notice something. The sign-in page isn't all that different from the screen that's on display when I hack into my Xbox. If Randy and I can exploit glitches in our video games. A few taps later, I'm probing into the actual HTML coding of the webpage. Most of it's gibberish, long strings of letters, numbers, and symbols, but in the middle of all the programming stew in a single word I recognize, Hammerstrom. Hammerstrom, Malik repeats. What's that? One of the purples, I reply. But if he's the guy who set up the portal, maybe he used his own name as a pin. I backtrack out of the coding until I see the password page again. My hands are trembling as I type the letters into the field. HAMMERSTROM. We hear a beep, and there's the Google homepage. We're in! The whir of the golf cart is audible again. It's the patrol coming around to make another pass. The others duck into the bush, but I'm frozen in the spot, tapping the virtual keyboard. What are you doing, man? Malik hisses. Get down. We've got company. I'm still typing as my fingers are moving on their own. Boston Tea Party, I type in. Malik reaches out and drags me backward into the bushes just as the golf cart's round the corner. Tori smacks the tablet again against my chest, dousing the glow of the screen. We suspend breathing. Bushes don't breathe. The crisscrossing flashlight beams swing over us. The purple people eaters move on again. You idiot, Malik rages in an undertone. What is so important to see on there? Are you checking your fantasy football team? I pulled the iPad out and showed it to them. The Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party was a protest against taxation without representation by the Sons of Liberty against the British government. This website came out for me this morning during the storm. I explained to them, compare this to what they taught us, that the colonists and the British drank tea and decided to form a new country. I don't care, Malik is still angry. You almost got us caught. Light dawns on Hector first. They're tampering with our internet. Who's they? Asked Tori. The purple people eaters. They're just the enforcers, I reply. Mrs. Laska, Hector breathes. He turns to me. And your dad. It's worse than that, I tell him. The purples, everybody who works at the school or the factory. Our parents, Miss Tori? It's the whole lot of them, Malik adds angrily. Every adult in Happy Valley. Right, I agree. And if they control our internet and they control our school and they control our town, then we can't trust anything we think we know about our lives. There's dead silence as this sinks in. Hector has a question. But if our internet is phony, how come it isn't phony here? But I'm guessing at the answer, but it makes perfect sense. Because this is the factory's internet, leaking out through the walls. They want the real thing in there. Whatever's going on in Serenity, I'll bet it's being controlled from inside this building. On a whim, I tap 2 more words into the search field. McNally Academy. McNally Academy is a private co-educational boarding school located outside the town of Pueblo, Colorado, founded in 1954. Randy, Tori whispers, he's telling the truth. There's no way my absent friend could hear me, yet somehow it feels important that I say it out loud. I never should have doubted you, man. Malik slaps the bricks of the plastic works. We have to find a way to get in there. It's funny, we snuck out, trespassed on factory property, hunkered down like criminals hidden from the surety. Yet Malik's words scare me more than anything else that happened tonight. It doesn't make sense. The risky part is almost over. Why am I suddenly unable to control my runaway breathing? Maybe it's this. Nothing is over. This is just the beginning.